Hello, hello. Hello. Thank you all for coming. We have fancy food today, but we're waiting for utensils to come in. So we're gonna get started and take a break in the middle. So that's for food. For announcements, there's a few things going on. First of all, a conference besides Orlando is coming up this Saturday. So if you want to go, we have a carpooling form on the Discord for transportation. It's completely free. It's in Orlando. Pretty good conference to get experience with. In terms of competitions, NSA Codebreakers just opened up today, and it goes until January 14th. Basically, if you want experience with some CTF stuff like forensics or reversing, that's a good opportunity. And also, the NSA hires people from that. So it's also a job opportunity. And for blue team, we have DOE Cyberforce is coming up. So the tryouts are happening right now. So you can do that. I think that's everything in terms of announcements. So I'll move on to the content. Okay, so today we're talking about Linux distros. So Linux is an operating system and it comes in different flavors. And we call these flavors distros. There are a ton of different distros. For example, I found this post on Reddit where they included an image of it's a timeline of all the distros where every one of these lines is a separate distro. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of these today because that's ridiculous. Most of these are either no longer supported or just stupid, but there are a few interesting ones that we'll cover. And why do we have so much variety? There's a few reasons. First of all, Linux is open source. Yay! So, because it's open source and publicly available, anyone can access it, and it's very easy for them to make a variant since all of the code is right there. Another thing is that for every niche you have, you can make a distro for that niche. For example, if you want something more focused on security, you can make a distro specifically for security. If you want something for usability to make it really friendly for the end user, you make a separate distro for that. So that results in a bunch of different things. And then finally, as you'll hear later on, the history of Linux is kind of messy. And because of that, there's a bunch of different branching paths leading to a bunch of different distros. So yeah, how we're going to do things today is we have a bunch of different distros on screen, and it's like broken up into segments. So anyone in the crowd can just yell out a distro or an icon on screen, and we'll talk about that one. So who wants to go first? Any takers? Yeah, Sammy? Ubuntu. Okay. Ubuntu is very vanilla. It's a variant of Debian. So let's go ahead and talk about Debian. Um, Aiden, come on up and talk about Debian/Arch.
I use W, by the way. So in case you guys haven't seen, there's a lot of people who say I use Arch, by the way. I am the antithesis of that. I use Debian, by the way. And a bunch of gross oversimplifications about like the differences between Arch and Debian. First off, what is Debian? Debian was released in 1993, created by Ian Murdoch. It is the second oldest operating system that is currently being worked on to date. The second one is OpenSUSE, which is a very distributed operating system type of thing. It was originally created for stability. Ian Murdoch, he was looking online. He was trying to find an operating system. The operating system that was available was Soft Landing Linux system. It was extremely unstable, and it had a bunch of bugs in it. In case you guys haven't programmed in Programming 1 or Programming 2, basically the machine crashed a lot. So what Ian Murdoch did was he created Debian to be extremely stable, extremely safe, and not crash. So far, it's being used in most servers. So like YouTube, Google, the big companies, they use Debian or pieces of Debian, such as Ubuntu and other things. Ubuntu is a very user-based type of computer operating system, whereas Debian is designed more for the server. The next thing is going to be Arch Linux. Arch Linux was released in 2002 by Judd Vinet. It is called a rolling release distribution. So what happens is every single week they update it, they update it, they update it, and it's not stable at all. So there's chances that your computer will crash. There's chances that it'll blow something up. Drivers usually don't work. And this is coming from someone who did do a small stint in Arch Linux. Thankfully, I left. Originally, it was originally designed for an i3-84, which you don't have to worry about really. It's a 32-bit computer from 2002, but people just really loved it so much that it kept on getting updated and updated and updated. The biggest thing that Arch Linux offers to their user base is you have full control over the system. You can install whatever you want, you can set up whatever you want, and you can just blow anything up however you want it. Typically, the main reason why a lot of people say I use Arch, by the way, is because there's a really high learning curve when you install it and you run it. However, that has gone away nowadays with the advent of graphical installers and a bunch of other things. So in reality, Arch is fairly easy to install and learn. So whenever someone says I use Arch, by the way, they're lying, you know? So I wanted to showcase the differences between Debian and Arch because Linux is a very large subset, or umbrella, where any operating system can range from stable to not stable, right? You don't have control over your operating system. The operating system controls you versus you control the operating system. You tell it when to bark and jump, you know? So there's a bunch of different reasons why people choose an operating system over the other. If you guys want to focus on an operating system that you're just able to get through schoolwork with, choose something that's a lot more stable. If you guys like to make little tiny cat GIFs show up in your desktop, you can always use something that gives you more control over your operating system. But yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you. Two other things about Arch. One, the phrase "I use Arch Linux," by the way, is so popular that there's a programming language called "I use Arch," by the way. It's a variant of brainfuck, which, if you guys don't know, it's a programming language that only has 8 commands. And in this language, those commands are "I use Arch Linux," by the way, and then something else I forgot. But yeah, second thing is we now have utensils, so we can come up and get food. So let's take a quick break right now, and you guys can come up and eat. Make sure people sign in.